The crystal chandeliers cast diamonds of light across the ballroom, and Dante Kim stood at the altar in his custom Armani tuxedo, watching 300 guests settle into their seats. This was supposed to be the proudest moment of his life. Chairman of Kim Industries at 29, marrying the daughter of South Korea's most powerful political family, uniting two empires in one ceremony. Everything was perfect. Everything was planned. Then the doors at the back of the venue opened, and his entire world stopped. A woman walked in. Late. Alone. Wearing a simple cream dress that did nothing to hide the massive, unmistakable curve of her pregnant belly. Very pregnant. Her dark skin glowed under the chandelier lights, her natural hair pulled back in an elegant bun, and when she lifted her eyes and met his across the 100 feet of white carpet between them, Dante felt his heart stop beating. Zara. His Zara. Except she wasn't his anymore. He'd made sure of that 6 months ago when he'd chosen duty over love, when he'd told her their relationship was a mistake, when he'd watched her walk out of his penthouse with tears streaming down her face and convinced himself it was for the best. 6 months ago. And now she was here. At his wedding. Looking like she was about to give birth any second. The math hit him like a freight train. His hands went numb. His vision tunneled. Beside him, his bride-to-be, Sue Jean, beautiful and perfect in her designer wedding gown, whispered something he couldn't hear over the roaring in his ears. Because Zara's hand had moved to her belly. Protective. Possessive. And even from this distance, Dante could see the curve wasn't just big. It was huge. The kind of belly that carried more than one baby. Those are my twins, he whispered, so quietly no one else could hear. But Zara heard something in his face change because her expression shifted from nervous to defiant. She lifted her chin, squared her shoulders, and slowly, deliberately, sat down in the very last row, her hands folded over her pregnant stomach like she was guarding the most precious secret in the world. His secret. His children. Welcome back to Afro. Dante had believed he had everything figured out. He was 28 years old, the youngest CEO in Kim Industries' 70-year history, and completely, hopelessly in love with a woman his family would never accept. Zara Mitchell worked at the coffee shop 2 blocks from his office building. He'd walked in one morning because his usual driver had called in sick and he'd had to walk to work like a normal person. She'd been behind the counter, arguing with a customer about whether almond milk cost extra, and something about the way she stood her ground, refusing to back down even when the guy started yelling, made Dante stop and stare. She was beautiful, yes. But that wasn't what caught him. It was the fire in her eyes. The way she didn't care that the customer was twice her size and getting louder by the second. The way she simply crossed her arms and said, "Sir, I don't make the prices. I just work here. If you want to pay for almond milk, great. If not, regular milk is free. But you need to decide because there's a line." Dante had stepped forward without thinking. "I'll pay for his drink. And whatever the lady behind him wants. And give yourself a $50 tip for dealing with difficult customers." Zara had looked at him like he'd grown a second head. "I don't need your pity money. It's not pity. It's admiration. You didn't back down. Why would I back down? I was right." He'd fallen in love right there, standing in line at a coffee shop, watching this stubborn, fierce, absolutely perfect woman refuse his money and serve him the worst cup of coffee he'd ever tasted with a smile that said she knew exactly how bad it was. He came back the next day. And the next. And the next. It took 2 weeks before she agreed to have dinner with him. Another week before she let him kiss her. A month before she admitted she was falling for him too. They kept it secret at first. Dante's family was traditional. Old money. Old values. His father had built Kim Industries from nothing, and every decision Dante made was watched, judged, measured against impossible standards. Dating an American woman, a black woman, a woman who worked in a coffee shop and had student loans and drove a 15-year-old Honda? That would never be acceptable. But God, Dante didn't care. For 3 months, he lived a double life. CEO by day, sneaking out to Zara's tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn by night. They ate takeout on her bedroom floor because she didn't have a table. They watched movies on her laptop because her TV was broken. They talked about everything and nothing, and Dante felt more like himself in that cramped apartment than he ever had in his family's mansion. "Tell me something real," Zara would say, lying in his arms at 2 a.m. "Not CEO stuff. Real stuff." "Like what?" "Like what scares you?" He'd been quiet for a long time. Then, disappointing my father. He sacrificed everything to build this company. Worked 18-hour days. Miss my childhood. My mother's funeral. All for Kim Industries. And now it's mine, and I'm terrified I'll destroy everything he built. You won't. How do you know? Because you care too much. People who destroy things don't lie awake at 3 in the morning worrying about disappointing their dads. She always knew exactly what to say. But secrets don't stay secret forever. 4 months into their relationship, Dante's father had a heart attack. Not fatal, but serious enough to put him in the hospital for a week. Serious enough that the family gathered, that business partners circled, that everyone started asking questions about succession, about leadership, about whether Dante was ready. His older brother, Min-ho, cornered him in the hospital cafeteria. Father's worried about you. I'm handling everything fine. The company is. I'm not talking about the company. I'm talking about your personal life. There are rumors, Dante. Rumors about you seeing someone inappropriate. Dante's blood had gone cold. Inappropriate. An American. A foreigner. Someone completely unsuitable for a man in your position. Minho's voice was careful, controlled. Father hasn't heard the rumors yet. He's been too sick. But he will. And when he does, it will kill him faster than any heart attack. That's not. Is it true? Dante could have lied. Should have lied. But he'd looked at his brother and said, yes. Minho had closed his eyes. End it. Today. Before Father finds out. Before it destroys everything our family has built. I love her. Love. Minho's laugh was bitter. You're the chairman of a $10 billion company. You don't get to love whoever you want. You get to love who's appropriate. Who's acceptable. Who strengthens the family instead of embarrassing it. She's not an embarrassment. She will be when the board finds out. When our partners find out. When Father finds out, and it puts him back in the hospital. Minho leaned closer. There's already a solution. The Song family has a daughter. Beautiful, educated, perfect bloodline. Their company merging with ours would make us unstoppable. Father's been planning it for years. He's just been waiting for you to be ready. I'm not marrying someone I don't love. Then you'll kill our father. Your choice. Dante had gone to Zara's apartment that night. She'd known something was wrong the moment she opened the door. What happened? He couldn't look at her. My father's sick. The family needs me to step up. To make certain decisions. What kind of decisions? Marriage. An arranged marriage. To someone from a good family. Someone who fits. Zara had gone very still. Someone who's not me. Zara. Say it. Have the guts to actually say it. I can't be with you anymore. I'm sorry. This was a mistake. She'd laughed, but there were tears in her eyes. A mistake. 3 months of telling me you loved me. Of planning a future. Of making me believe we could make this work. All a mistake. I do love you. Don't you dare say you love me while you're choosing someone else. She'd walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Zara, please. Get out. He'd left. Walked out of her apartment and her life. Told himself it was for the best. Told himself he was protecting her from the scrutiny and pressure of his world. Told himself she'd move on and find someone better. He'd thrown himself into work. Accepted the engagement to Song Soo-jin. Planned the wedding his father wanted. Became the perfect son, the perfect CEO, the perfect heir. And now, 6 months later, on his wedding day, Zara was sitting in the back row of his wedding ceremony with a belly that said everything he'd told himself was a lie. The officiant was talking. Saying something about love and commitment and forever. Soo-jin was smiling beside him, beautiful and perfect and completely wrong. The guests were watching, waiting for the ceremony to begin. And Dante couldn't take his eyes off the woman in the back row. The woman carrying his children. The woman he'd thrown away because he was a coward. Zara stood up. Slowly, carefully, one hand supporting her lower back. For a moment, Dante thought she was leaving. But she didn't walk toward the exit. She walked toward the front. Toward him. Every step deliberate. Every eye in the room turning to watch. The whispers started immediately. Who is she? Is she a guest? Look at her belly. This is inappropriate. Someone should stop her. But no one did. No one moved. They all just watched as Zara walked down the center aisle, past 300 shocked guests, past Dante's entire family, past business partners and politicians and everyone who mattered in his carefully constructed world. She stopped 10 feet from the altar. Close enough that Dante could see her face clearly. Close enough to see she'd been crying. Close enough to see the exhaustion in her eyes. I'm sorry, she said, her voice carrying in the silent ballroom. I didn't want to come. I tried so hard not to come. But they deserve to know. Who deserves to know what? Sujin asked, her voice sharp. Zara looked past Dante to his bride. That your fiancé got me pregnant 6 months ago. That I'm carrying his twins. And that he abandoned us both to marry you. The room exploded. Gasps. Shouts. Dante's father, sitting in the front row, stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Minho grabbed Dante's arm. Sujin made a sound like she'd been slapped. And Zara just stood there, one hand on her massive belly, looking at Dante with eyes that held no anger. Only sadness. Only truth. I'm sorry, she said again, softer this time. Meant only for him. But our babies deserve a father who doesn't pretend they don't exist. Then she turned and walked back down the aisle, past the chaos she'd created, past the ruined wedding and destroyed alliances and shattered carefully laid plans. Dante watched her go. Watched the mother of his children, the woman he'd loved and thrown away, walk out of his life for the second time. And this time, he knew exactly what he had to do. He looked at Sujin. At his father. At Minho. At 300 guests waiting to see what he would do. Then he stepped away from the altar and ran. Dante's expensive Italian shoes weren't made for running. They slipped on the polished marble floor of the hotel lobby as he burst through the ballroom doors, his bow tie already loosened, his perfectly styled hair falling into his eyes. Behind him, he could hear his father shouting his name, his brother yelling at security, Sujin's mother screaming about disgrace and lawsuits and family honor. He didn't care about any of it. Zara, he shouted, scanning the crowded lobby. Wedding guests who'd stepped out for air turned to stare. Hotel staff froze mid-step. Zara, wait! He spotted her near the revolving doors, moving as fast as her pregnant body would allow. She didn't turn around, didn't slow down, just kept walking like she couldn't hear him, one hand pressed against her lower back, the other gripping her purse. Dante ran faster. His lungs burned. His heart hammered against his ribs. He caught up to her just as she reached the doors, grabbed her arm gently. Please just stop. She spun around, and the look on her face nearly broke him. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her expression was fierce, angry, hurt. Don't touch me. I need to talk to you. Now you want to talk. 6 months too late, Dante. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But please just give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and if you still want to leave, I won't stop you. 5 minutes. She laughed, but it sounded like crying. You want 5 minutes after you threw away 3 months? After you called me a mistake? After you left me pregnant and alone? The word hit him like a punch. You knew. When I left, you knew you were pregnant. I found out 2 days after you walked out. 2 days, Dante. I was going to tell you. I was so scared and excited, and I thought maybe if you knew about the babies, you'd choose us. But then I remembered what you said. That I was a mistake. That we were a mistake. She wiped her eyes angrily. So I figured you didn't want us. Any of us. That's not true. God, Zara, that's not true. I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. Then why are you marrying someone else? Why did I have to find out about your wedding from a magazine article? Why did I have to see your face on the cover of Korea Times announcing your engagement like I never existed? Dante ran his hands through his hair, making it stand up everywhere. Because I was stupid. Because I was scared. Because my family said loving you would destroy everything, and I believed them. Because I'm a coward who chose duty over the only person who ever made me happy. Well, congratulations. You chose duty. Now go back to your bride and your perfect wedding and your perfect life. She turned away again. It's not perfect. The words exploded out of him, loud enough that everyone in the lobby stopped and stared. Nothing's been perfect since I left you. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I go through every day like a robot, doing what everyone expects, being who everyone wants me to be, and I'm miserable. Completely, utterly miserable. That's not my problem anymore. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve anything from you. But they do. He gestured to her belly. Our babies deserve a father who shows up, who fights for them, who doesn't run away when things get hard. Zara's hand moved protectively over her stomach. They deserve better than a father who's ashamed of their mother. I was never ashamed of you. Never. I was ashamed of myself. Of being too weak to stand up to my family. Of caring more about my father's approval than your happiness. He took a shaky breath. You were right. That night you told me I was choosing wrong. You were right about everything. Behind them, the ballroom doors burst open. Dante's father strode out, flanked by Minho and 3 security guards. His face was purple with rage. Dante Kim, get back here right now. Dante didn't move. Didn't even turn around. He kept his eyes locked on Zara's face. Mr. Kim, one of the security guards said nervously, should we? Don't you dare, Dante said quietly, still looking at Zara. Don't you dare touch her. His father reached them, breathing hard. Up close, Dante could see the veins bulging in his neck, the way his hands shook with fury. You're making a scene. You're embarrassing this family. You're destroying everything I built. No, father. You destroyed it by making me choose between love and duty. By making me believe I couldn't have both. That woman is nothing. Nobody. A coffee shop worker who trapped you with a pregnancy. Stop. Dante's voice was sharp as broken glass. Don't talk about her like that. Don't talk about the mother of your grandchildren like that. His father's face went from purple to white. Grandchildren. Twins. She's carrying twins. Your blood. Your legacy. The future of the Kim family. Dante finally turned to face his father fully. You want me to walk away from them? Fine. But then you walk away from me too. Because I'm done choosing. I'm done sacrificing my happiness for your approval. If you walk away from this wedding, you walk away from everything. The company. The family name. Your inheritance. Everything. Then I guess I'm walking away. The lobby had gone completely silent. Guests crowded in the ballroom doorway, necks craning to watch. Hotel staff pretended to work while openly staring. Sujin appeared, still in her wedding dress, her face pale and shocked. Minho grabbed Dante's shoulder. Think about what you're doing. Think about the scandal. The business deals that will fall through. The partners who'll walk away. I am thinking about it. And you know what? None of it matters. Not compared to her. Not compared to them. Dante pulled away from his brother's grip and turned back to Zara. I love you. I never stopped. And I'm sorry it took me 6 months and ruining my own wedding to finally be brave enough to say it in front of everyone who matters. But I'm saying it now. I love you. I choose you. I choose our babies. I choose us over everything else. Zara's tears fell faster. Dante, I don't expect you to forgive me today. Maybe not ever. But I need you to know that I'm done running. I'm done being the person everyone else wants me to be. If you'll let me, I want to be there. For every doctor's appointment. Every midnight craving. Every kick and hiccup and moment. I want to be their father. And if you'll give me the chance, I want to earn my way back to being your. He didn't finish because Zara gasped, her face twisting in pain. Her hand flew to her belly. Oh no. What? What's wrong? I think, she gasped again, her knees buckling. I think my water just broke. Dante caught her before she could fall, his heart stopping. What? But you can't, it's too early, right? How far along are you? 32 weeks. They're not supposed to come yet. They're too early. Her voice was rising with panic. Dante, something's wrong. It hurts. It really hurts. Okay. Okay, it's okay. We're going to the hospital right now. He looked around wildly. Someone call an ambulance. No time, Minho said, his voice crisp and efficient despite everything. My car's right outside. It's faster. Dante didn't argue. He lifted Zara into his arms, wedding suit and all, and ran for the doors. She was heavier than he expected, her pregnant belly making her awkward to carry, but he didn't care. His brother ran ahead, clearing the path. They burst through the hotel entrance into the cold evening air. Minho's black Mercedes was parked illegally at the curb. Dante slid into the back seat with Zara still in his arms, and his brother jumped into the driver's seat. Presbyterian Hospital, Dante barked. And drive fast. Minho pulled into traffic without bothering to signal, his jaw tight. Behind them, Dante could see his father standing in the hotel entrance, frozen. Sujin beside him, still in her wedding dress. Guests spilling out onto the sidewalk, phones out, recording everything. Dante didn't care about any of it. Because Zara was crying in his arms, her body shaking with contractions that came too fast, too soon. Her hand gripped his so tight it hurt. I'm scared. Dante, I'm so scared. It's too early. What if something's wrong with them? Nothing's wrong. They're strong. They're fighters. Just like their mother. He pressed his lips to her forehead. Just breathe. I've got you. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? I promise. Never again. I swear to God, Zara, I'm never leaving you again. The hospital was 12 blocks away. It felt like 12 miles. Every red light lasted an eternity. Every car in their way might as well have been a wall. Zara's contractions came faster, harder. She was sobbing now, her face twisted in pain. How far apart? Minho asked, his eyes on the road but his voice tight with worry. I don't know. 2 minutes. Maybe less. Dante felt helpless, useless. Is that bad? That's bad, right? Just hold on. We're almost there. They screeched to a stop in front of the emergency entrance. Dante kicked the car door open and lifted Zara out, running for the automatic doors. Help! Somebody help! She's in labor. 32 weeks. Twins. Nurses appeared with a wheelchair. They tried to take Zara from his arms, but he wouldn't let go until they made him, until they assured him he could follow, until they promised they wouldn't leave her alone. They rushed her through double doors into a delivery wing. Dante tried to follow, but a nurse stopped him. Sir, you need to change. There's scrubs in that room. Be quick. He changed in 15 seconds, his hands shaking so bad he could barely tie the scrub pants. When he came out, another nurse was waiting. She's asking for you. Room 3. Dante ran, burst through the door to find Zara on a bed, surrounded by machines and monitors and medical staff. Her cream dress was gone, replaced by a hospital gown, and 4 was already in her arm. She looked so small, so scared. I'm here, he said, taking her hand. I'm right here. A doctor came in, a woman in her 50s with calm eyes. I'm Dr. Lee. Let's see what's happening with these babies. Dr. Lee moved with practiced efficiency, checking monitors, pressing her hands against Zara's belly, asking questions in a calm voice that somehow made everything feel more terrifying. How long have you been having contractions? I don't know, Zara gasped. Maybe an hour? They started at the hotel, but I thought they were just Braxton Hicks. False labor. They've been happening for weeks. But these feel different? Yes. Stronger. Closer together. Another contraction hit, and Zara squeezed Dante's hand so hard he felt bones grind. Oh God, that hurts. Dr. Lee examined her quickly, her expression unreadable. When she pulled back, she looked serious. You're dilating fast. Already at 6 centimeters. These babies are coming tonight, whether we want them to or not. But it's too early, Dante said, his voice cracking. 32 weeks. That's 2 months early. What does that mean? Are they going to be okay? 32 weeks is premature, yes, but twins often come early. We have an excellent NICU team standing by. The survival rate for twins at this stage is very high, over 95%. But they'll need help breathing. They'll be small. They'll need to stay in the hospital for several weeks. Several weeks. Zara's eyes went wide. I can't afford several weeks in the NICU. Do you know how much that costs? I don't have insurance. I've been paying for everything out of pocket, and I barely have enough for. Don't worry about money, Dante interrupted. Whatever it costs, I'll pay. The best doctors. The best care. Whatever they need. I don't want your money. Zara, please. This isn't the time to be proud. Proud, she laughed, but it turned into a cry of pain as another contraction hit. You think this is about pride? You abandoned me, Dante. You left me alone and pregnant and terrified. For 6 months I've been working double shifts at that coffee shop, trying to save enough money for 2 babies I didn't plan for. 2 babies whose father told me I was a mistake. I know, and I'm sorry. But right now, please, just let me help. Before she could answer, her face went white. Something's wrong. Dr. Lee, something feels wrong. The doctor moved fast, checking the monitors. Her calm expression flickered for just a second, but it was enough to send ice through Dante's veins. Baby A's heart rate is dropping. We need to get her to an OR. Now. Everything happened at once. Nurses appeared from nowhere. The bed started moving. Someone was unhooking monitors and rehooking them to portable machines. Zara was crying, reaching for Dante's hand. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I won't. I'm right here. Sir, you need to scrub in if you're coming to the OR, a nurse said, already pushing him toward a side door. 30 seconds. Dante scrubbed his hands so hard his skin turned red. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might explode. Through the window, he could see them wheeling Zara down the hall, see her looking back for him, see the fear on her face. When he burst into the operating room, they were already prepping her for a C-section. The anesthesiologist was talking to her in a soothing voice, explaining the epidural, telling her she'd be awake, but wouldn't feel pain. Zara's eyes found Dante's across the room. I'm scared, she whispered. He took his place beside her head, the only part of her not hidden behind the surgical curtain. Me too. But we're doing this together, okay? You and me. Like we should have been doing it all along. If something happens to me, nothing's going to happen. But if it does, promise me you'll take care of them. Promise me you won't abandon them like you abandoned me. The words cut deeper than any knife. I promise. But nothing's happening to you. You're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. Dr. Lee's voice came from behind the curtain. Starting now. Zara, you'll feel pressure but no pain. Just breathe. Dante held Zara's hand and watched her face. Watched her trying to be brave, even though tears streamed down her temples into her hair. Watched her breathing through fear and pain and 6 months of abandonment that he'd caused. I'm sorry, he whispered, so quiet only she could hear. I'm so sorry for all of it. For leaving. For hurting you. For making you go through this alone. If I could go back and change it, I would. I'd choose you. I'd choose us. Every single time. You can't go back. I know. But I can be here now. I can show up now. I can be the father they deserve and the man you deserved 6 months ago. She didn't answer because Dr. Lee said, "First baby's out." A tiny cry filled the room. Weak and small, but absolutely perfect. A nurse appeared with a bundle, bringing the baby close enough for Zara to see. It's a girl. 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Dante stared at his daughter. She was so small, barely bigger than a football, her skin wrinkled and red, her tiny fists waving in protest at being pulled from the warm darkness. She had a head full of black hair, and when her eyes cracked open for just a second, they were dark like his. She's beautiful, he breathed. Zara, she's perfect. But Zara wasn't looking at the baby. She was looking at the monitors, at the nurses who'd suddenly moved faster, at Dr. Lee whose calm voice had gone sharp and urgent. Baby B's in distress. Heart rate's dropping fast. I need to get him out now. Him. Dante's brain struggled to catch up. It's a boy. Nobody answered. The room had erupted into controlled chaos. More doctors appeared. Someone was adjusting Zara's anesthesia. The monitors were beeping louder, faster, more insistent. What's happening? Zara's voice rose in panic. What's wrong with my baby? The umbilical cord is compressed, Dr. Lee said, her hands moving with precision behind the curtain. He's not getting enough oxygen. Just hold on, little one. Hold on. Dante felt helpless. He held Zara's hand and watched her face cycle through terror and hope and desperation. Watched her lips move in what might have been prayer. Watched her cry silent tears that he wiped away with shaking fingers. Got him, Dr. Lee said. He's out. But there was no cry. No sound at all. The silence stretched for 3 seconds. 5 seconds. 10 seconds that felt like hours. Why isn't he crying? Zara asked, her voice breaking. Dante, why isn't he crying? A team of NICU doctors surrounded a small table in the corner. Dante could see them working, could see tiny chest compressions, could see an oxygen mask being placed over a face too small to be real. Please, Zara sobbed. Please let him be okay. Please, God, please. Dante had never prayed in his life. His family was Buddhist but not practicing, going to temple only for show, for tradition. But right now, in this moment, he prayed to every god he could think of. Christian God, Buddha, Allah, the universe itself. Please. Please save my son. Please don't take him before I even get to hold him. And then like a miracle, a sound. Weak. Thin. Barely more than a whimper. But a cry. He's breathing. One of the NICU doctors called out. Heart rate's coming up. He's stabilizing. The relief hit Dante so hard his knees buckled. He would have fallen if not for the stool someone had pushed under him at some point. Zara was sobbing, but this time with relief instead of fear. Can I see him? She asked. Can I see my son? A nurse brought the baby over, wrapped in a blue blanket, an oxygen mask covering most of his tiny face. He was even smaller than his sister, maybe 4.5 pounds, his skin almost translucent, his breathing fast and shallow. He's a fighter, the nurse said softly. Both of them are. They need to go to the NICU now, Dr. Lee said, already stitching Zara's incision. They need specialized care. You'll be able to see them as soon as we get you to recovery. Wait, Zara reached out with weak hands. Wait, I haven't held them yet. I haven't. I know, sweetheart. I know. But right now they need help breathing. The faster we get them to the NICU, the better their chances. They wheeled the babies away in their tiny plastic incubators. Dante watched them go, these 2 perfect, fragile humans he'd helped create. His children. His son and daughter. His family. Go with them, Zara said. What? Go with the babies. Make sure they're okay. I don't want them to be alone. I'm not leaving you. Dante, please. I'll be fine. They're so small and scared, and I can't be there, so you have to be. Please. He looked between her and the doors the babies had disappeared through. Every instinct screamed at him to stay with Zara, but she was right. Someone needed to be with the babies. They shouldn't be alone. I'll come back as soon as I can, he promised. I know. He kissed her forehead quickly and ran after the NICU team. They were already in the elevator by the time he caught up, the 2 incubators surrounded by medical staff and beeping machines. The NICU was on the 5th floor. When the doors opened, Dante followed them into a room that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Rows of tiny incubators, each one holding a baby smaller than his daughter and son. Machines everywhere. Nurses moving between stations with practiced ease. They placed his children in side-by-side incubators, immediately hooking them up to more monitors, more tubes, more equipment than seemed possible for humans so small. Are they going to make it? Dante asked a passing nurse. She gave him a kind smile. They're fighters. Born at 32 weeks, breathing on their own with just a little oxygen support. Those are good signs. But the next 72 hours are critical. What happens in 72 hours? That's when we'll know if there are any complications. Breathing problems, heart problems, infections. Premature babies are vulnerable. But your 2? They're already doing better than most. Dante pulled a chair between the 2 incubators and sat down. He looked at his daughter on the left, sleeping peacefully now, her tiny chest rising and falling. Then at his son on the right, still struggling a bit, his breathing faster than his sister's, but steady. Hi, he whispered. I'm your dad. I know I wasn't there before. I know I messed up badly. But I'm here now. And I'm not going anywhere. I promise. His daughter's tiny hand curled into a fist. His son's foot kicked weakly against his blanket. And Dante Kim, chairman of a $10 billion empire, sat in a NICU at midnight in a ruined wedding suit covered in his own tears and swore he would never let them down again. The first night was the longest of Dante's life. He sat between those 2 incubators, watching his children breathe, counting every rise and fall of their tiny chests. Every beep of the monitors made his heart jump. Every nurse who came to check on them made him stand up, ready to hear bad news. But no bad news came. His daughter, who they were calling baby girl Kim until Zara could help name her, slept peacefully most of the night. Strong. Steady. Her oxygen levels stayed good. Her heart rate stayed normal. She was small but fierce, just like her mother. His son, baby boy Kim, struggled more. His breathing was faster, more labored. Twice during the night, alarms went off and nurses had to adjust his oxygen. Each time, Dante's heart nearly stopped. Each time, they assured him this was normal for preemies. That he was doing okay. That he just needed time. Around 3 in the morning, a nurse touched Dante's shoulder. Mr. Kim? Your wife is asking for you. She's not my wife, he said automatically. Then paused. Wait, she's awake? Is she okay? She's fine. Recovering well. But she wants to see the babies. We're going to bring her down in a wheelchair. 10 minutes later, they wheeled Zara into the NICU. She looked exhausted, her natural hair messy, her hospital gown wrinkled, dark circles under her eyes. But when she saw the incubators, her face lit up with a love so pure it made Dante's chest hurt. Can I touch them? She whispered. Of course, the nurse said. Just wash your hands first. Here. Zara washed her hands 3 times, scrubbing until her skin turned red. Then she let Dante help her stand and walk to the incubators. She was shaky on her feet, still recovering from surgery, but she refused to sit down. She reached into her daughter's incubator first, her hand trembling as she touched the tiny fingers. Hi, baby girl. Hi, sweet thing. I'm your mama. I've been waiting so long to meet you. The baby's hand wrapped around Zara's finger. Such a small gesture, but it made Zara cry. Happy tears this time. Healing tears. Then she moved to their son's incubator. He was awake, his dark eyes trying to focus. And you, my little fighter. You scared me so much. But you're okay. You're going to be okay. Dante stood behind her, close enough to catch her if she fell, far enough to give her space. He watched her with their children and felt something crack open in his chest. This was his family. This moment right here. This was everything that mattered. They need names, Zara said softly. We can't keep calling them baby girl and baby boy. I was thinking about that, Dante said carefully. Do you remember, back when we were together, we used to walk past that playground in Brooklyn? And you said if you ever had kids, you'd want names that meant something. Names that told a story. I remember. Our daughter fought her way into this world first. She's strong and brave and nothing scared her. In Korean, that's Yuna. It means brave. Zara smiled, the first real smile he'd seen from her in 6 months. Yuna. I like that. And our son, he's a fighter too. He didn't give up even when things were scary. In Korean, Jiho means brave and wise. He'll need both of those things. Yuna and Jiho. Zara tested the names. Yuna Kim and Jiho Kim. Actually, Dante said quietly, I was hoping they could be Yuna Mitchell Kim and Jiho Mitchell Kim. Your name and mine. Together. Zara turned to look at him, her eyes searching his face. Why? Because they're part of both of us. And because I want the world to know that their mother is just as important as their father. That her name matters. That she matters. Dante. Before she could finish, the NICU doors burst open. Dante's father strode in, followed by Minho and 2 security guards. Other families in the NICU turned to stare. A nurse rushed over. Sir, you can't just barge in here. This is a restricted area. I'm Chairman Kim of Kim Industries, his father said coldly. I go where I want. Not in my NICU, you don't, a new voice said. Dr. Lee appeared, her arms crossed. This is a medical facility, not a boardroom. If you want to visit, you follow the rules. Wash your hands. Keep your voice down. And ask permission before you approach any patient. Dante's father looked like he'd been slapped. Nobody talked to him like that. Ever. But Dr. Lee just stared him down, completely unimpressed by his power and money. Finally, his father washed his hands at the sink, his movements stiff and angry. Then he walked over to where Dante and Zara stood. He looked at the incubators. At the 2 tiny babies inside. His face showed nothing. So these are my grandchildren, he said. Yes, Dante replied. Yuna and Jiho. Your granddaughter and grandson. His father was quiet for a long moment. Then, they're small. They're premature. Born at 32 weeks because of stress. Dante didn't hide the accusation in his voice. Stress from showing up at my wedding. Stress from having to tell a room full of people that their father abandoned them. Don't blame your father for your own mistakes, his father snapped. You're the one who got this girl pregnant. This girl has a name, Zara said quietly. It's Zara. Zara Mitchell. And I'm standing right here. Chairman Kim finally looked at her directly. Really looked at her. Dante watched his father's face, trying to see what he saw. Did he see a gold digger? A scandal? A problem to be solved? Or did he see a woman who'd survived 6 months alone and pregnant? A mother who'd given birth to his grandchildren? How much? His father asked. Excuse me? How much money will it take for you to go away? To sign over custody of the children and disappear? The room went dead silent. Even the machines seemed to stop beeping. Dante felt rage flood through him, hot and sharp. Father, don't. $10 million, his father continued, pulling out his checkbook. Tax-free. Enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. All you have to do is sign papers giving Dante full custody and never contact this family again. Zara stared at him. Then she started laughing. Not happy laughter. The kind of laughter that comes right before someone breaks. You think I want your money? You think that's what this is about? Everyone wants money. I don't want your money. I want my babies to have a father who shows up. Who loves them. Who doesn't abandon them when things get hard. She looked at Dante. But I'm starting to see where he learned that behavior. Miss Mitchell, be reasonable, Chairman Kim said. Look at this situation logically. You work in a coffee shop. You have no family, no support system, no resources to raise twins. Especially twins who will need extensive medical care. Dante can give them everything. The best schools. The best opportunities. The Kim family name. And what will they lose? Zara asked. Their mother? Their black heritage? The chance to be loved instead of molded into perfect Kim Industries heirs. They'll be taken care of. Being taken care of isn't the same as being loved. Dante had heard enough. Father, get out. His father turned to him, eyebrows raised. What did you say? I said get out. You don't get to come in here and insult the mother of my children. You don't get to try to buy your way out of a situation you don't like. And you definitely don't get to decide what happens to my family. Your family? You've known these children for 6 hours. And in those 6 hours, I've been more of a father than you were for most of my childhood. The words came out harsh, true. You were never there, Father. Always at the office. Always building your empire. Mom died and you went to work the next day. Minho's wedding? You showed up an hour late because of a business call. My entire life, you chose work over family. Every single time. His father's face went pale. I did everything for this family. No, you did everything for Kim Industries. There's a difference. Dante moved to stand between his father and Zara. I'm not going to be you. I'm not going to miss my children's lives because I'm too busy being important. I'm not going to make them feel like they're worth less than a business deal. If you choose her over your duty, I'll disown you. Then disown me. The words hung in the air. Minho stepped forward. Dante, don't be stupid. Think about what you're giving up. I am thinking about it. I'm giving up a company that already has my brother to run it. I'm giving up a father who tried to buy my children's mother like she's a problem to be solved. I'm giving up a family that values appearances over actual family. He looked at Zara. And I'm choosing a woman who's braver than anyone I've ever met, who survived 6 months alone because I was too much of a coward to stand up for her the first time, who showed up at my wedding, 8 months pregnant, because our children deserved a father who knew they existed. Zara was crying again, but silently now, just tears sliding down her face. Dante turned back to his father. So yes, if loving them means losing everything else, I lose everything else. Because they're worth more than all of it combined. His father stood there for a long moment. His face was unreadable. Finally, he said, "You're making a mistake." "Maybe, but it's my mistake to make." Chairman Kim turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, he paused. "When you come to your senses, don't expect me to welcome you back." "I won't." His father left. Minho hesitated, looking between Dante and the babies. "For what it's worth," he said quietly, "they're beautiful. Congratulations, little brother." Then he left too. The NICU felt very quiet after they were gone. Zara looked at Dante with wide eyes. "Did you just give up everything for us?" "No," Dante said. "I just chose what actually matters. But your company, your family, your entire life wasn't really my life. It was the life everyone else wanted me to have." He took her hand carefully. "This is my life. You and Yuna and Jiho. This is what I want. What if I can't forgive you? What if 6 months is too much to come back from? Then I'll spend however long it takes earning your forgiveness. And even if you never forgive me, even if you never want to be with me again, I'll still be here. For them. Because I meant what I said. I'm not abandoning them. Or you. Ever again." Zara looked down at their joined hands. "I don't know if I can trust you. I know. I don't know if love is enough after everything that happened. I know that too. But I want to try. For them. Maybe for us." She squeezed his hand. "But if you leave again, if you choose duty over us one more time, that's it. No more chances. I won't leave. I promise." They stood there together, between 2 incubators holding their children, and for the first time in 6 months, Dante felt like he could breathe again. Over the next 3 weeks, they lived in the NICU. Zara recovered from her C-section while learning how to be a mother to 2 premature babies. Dante learned how to change diapers small enough to fit in his palm, how to bottle feed babies who could barely swallow, how to just sit and watch them breathe and be grateful for every moment. Yuna got stronger quickly. Within a week, she was off oxygen completely. Within 2 weeks, she was drinking from bottles like a champion. The doctor started talking about sending her home soon. Jiho took longer. His lungs needed more help. He had trouble keeping his body temperature up. Twice, he got infections that required antibiotics. But he fought. Day by day, he got a little stronger. A little steadier. Dante and Zara took turns staying overnight. They talked during those long hours, really talked for the first time since he'd left. They talked about the hurt, the abandonment, the fear. They talked about his family's expectations and her independence. They talked about what they wanted for their children, for themselves, for a future that still felt uncertain. "I got an apartment," Dante said one night while they watched Jiho sleep. "Not the penthouse. Something smaller. In Brooklyn, actually. Near your old place. 3 bedrooms. One for us, one for the babies, one for a live-in nanny if you want help. But only if you want. This is your choice." "Our choice," Zara corrected. "If we're doing this, we're doing it together. Equal partners." "Equal partners," he agreed. On the 21st day, Dr. Lee came in with a smile. "Good news. Yuna's ready to go home. And if Jiho stays stable for 3 more days, he can go too." They went home on a Wednesday afternoon. Dante drove 5 miles under the speed limit the whole way, terrified of every bump and turn. Zara sat in the back between 2 car seats, her hands hovering near both babies like she could catch them if something went wrong. The apartment Dante had found was perfect. Hardwood floors. Big windows. A nursery already set up with 2 cribs, a changing table, and more baby supplies than 2 tiny humans could possibly need. You did all this? Zara asked, looking around. I had help. Minho, actually. He's been coming by. Meeting the babies. He thinks I'm crazy, but he respects the choice. And your father? Nothing. Not a word. Dante tried to keep the hurt out of his voice. But that's okay. We don't need him. That night, they put Yuna and Jiho to bed in their cribs. They stood together in the doorway, watching them sleep, these 2 perfect miracles they'd made. Thank you, Dante said quietly. For what? For not giving up on me. For letting me be here. For giving us a chance. Zara leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you for choosing us. They didn't have everything figured out. There were still hard conversations ahead. Still trust to rebuild. Still scars that hadn't healed. But standing there, watching their children breathe, Dante knew they'd figure it out together. Because some things were worth fighting for. Some mistakes were worth fixing. And some loves were strong enough to survive even the worst kind of abandonment and come back even stronger. This was their second chance. Their new beginning. Their family. And Dante swore he'd spend the rest of his life making sure they never regretted giving him this chance to get it right. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to support our growth. And let us know in the comments what you want to see next.